Hello, everyone. My name is Brennan Marr. That noise you're hearing is my ventilator. And I'd like to welcome you to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. Today, I'd like to talk about how I played Star Wars when I was a kid. Before we get into that, I would like to give a special shout out to Girls with Sabers. If you are looking for people who are wonderful and positive and just enjoy Star Wars with so much love it's infectious, please check them out. Emrys and Luthien at Girls with Sabers are wonderful. Also worth checking out is Madison Thames. Maddie Solo on YouTube, Madisolo. She is so just optimistic and positive about Star Wars. Just like Girls with Sabers, it's infectious. So please check them out. They have been kind enough to give me wonderful shout outs on their channels. Emrys and Luthien said that people should check out my channel. And when I heard that, I blushed. So thank you to them for their overly kind words. And I recommend you check them out. I wanted to give a special shout out to show my appreciation for their support. That being said, let's talk about how I played Star Wars as a kid. Now, typically it was me and my brother. My brother is 3.5 years younger than me. And even though we've got a sister in the middle there, my sister was not as big into Star Wars as me and my brother were. And you're probably doing mental calculations right now, but yes, we are very close in age. 3 siblings in 3.5 years. That's pretty close. Very close, actually. I don't know how my parents survived. But I never played Star Wars in the traditional sense of I'm Luke, you're Han. Let's act out the main characters. Let's play the main characters. My brother and I would play made-up characters in the Star Wars universe. Now, I can't for the life of me remember the names of our characters. But during this time, I was reading the Young Jedi Knights novels by Kevin J. Anderson and Rebecca Moista. I would have been about 10, 11. And so my brother and I imagined that we were members of the council or members of Luke's Jedi Academy. I don't want to say council because this was before the Phantom Menace had come out. But that we were part of Luke's Academy on Yavin 4. You may recall from the books that he established his academy at an old temple. An old Sith temple on Yavin 4. And my brother and I would act that out. That was what we did. We, of course, had, toy lightsabers, and we would, occasionally have a little battle with them. But particularly, we like to imagine that we were these Jedi who were teaching a young generation about how to be Jedi. We had that, but we alternated in our imaginary play with the idea that, now, maybe we were the same characters, I'm not sure. I don't remember, but that we had a fleet of ships. I think this may have been a completely different imaginary play. But we had a fleet. Now, I had the Essential Guide Star Wars books, which was a line of Star Wars books that came out. There was a guide to vehicles and vessels. A Guide to Planets and Moons, A Guide to Droids. A lot of this was published before The Phantom Menace had come out. So this was all, the old 90s Legends material. Also, as a side note, yes, I played Shadows of the Empire on the N64. A lot. That was one of my sort of keystones of growing up a Star Wars fan. So my brother and I, the way our house worked is we have a sliding glass door in the back, which is big, and so we pretend that was the viewport of our spaceship, and that our house is the spaceship. And we would imagine these big Battle of Endor style space battles. Big epic confrontations with the Empire. But also, that evolved into a idea that we had a fleet of ships. And because we had the essential guide to vehicles and vessels, I knew exactly what ships they were. I had a ship which was I don't know what the model of the ship is called, but there's a ship in the Star Wars Legends called the Flurry. It's the name of the ship, Flurry. And it's this kind of long, flat spaceship with a hangar bay underneath. The same model of ship is used in an episode of Star Wars Rebels. And so we had that. That was our main ship. We had a Corellian freighter like the Millennium Falcon. The same model, YT 1300 or whatever the model is, that could actually dock on the top of the Flurry. It's too big to get in the hangar bay underneath, I think. If I think of the design of the ship properly. But so we had the idea that it could land on the flat top of the ship and dock there. And he had this idea that there were these docking ports there that it could latch onto it. So we had those ships. We also had what's called a stormtrooper transport. I should make a slight detour to say that I played X-Wing and TIE Fighter on the computer. Those were some of my earliest things I did in regards to Star Wars. Outside of the movies, or playing those games. And in X-Wing and TIE Fighter, but mostly in TIE Fighter, there were these vehicles called stormtrooper transports. And so we had one of those in our fleet, and we may have had a couple other ships. Maybe like a B-Wing and an X-Wing or something, but I called it... I think we called it Delta Squadron or something, and so we'd go on these missions. And I was really, really funny. I would insist that we never use the word guns, that they were weapons, because guns sounded too informal. Yes, I was that kind of kid. So, but eventually I was like, well, whatever, they're guns. So we'd play up these space battles, we'd pretend to be these Jedi working at Luke's Academy. I didn't have any Star Wars action figures growing up. My favorite Star Wars toys, which I still have, are my Star Wars micro machines. Yes, I have a lot of micro machines. I have the regular kind of X-Wings and Star Destroyers and Leia's Blockade Runner and the Nebula B frigate and so on and so forth. I also have the big die-cast ones of the Millennium Falcon, the Jawa Sandcrawler, a die-cast Y-Wing, a die-cast TIE Fighter. And then we also had the oversized ones that you can put the little tiny figurines in. And one of them, the Imperial Shuttle, which wings can fold up and it can land. The landing gear come out when you fold the wings up because it's all attached. I played with that one a lot. I have a video of me doing it and Chewie and Honor in the cockpit. I'm doing Han's voice. Not very well, but I'm doing Han's voice. Like, come on, Chewie, we gotta land this or whatever, you know. And then, you know, an oversized AT-AT or AT-AT, depending on how you like to say it, and others. And I still have them. And in fact, my nephews and my niece play with them when they come over. So it's really nice to have these multi-generational toys. And they all still are there. All the parts are there for the most part. I think all the canopies are still on the ships that can open, and I think we still have all the little tiny figurines that fit in it. So it's really nice to keep these. Now I would occasionally enact battles and stuff with those figures. But mostly when I play Star Wars, it'd be me and my brother imagining we were in the Star Wars universe. And I'm sure that a lot of you out there did the same. I also Legos. Now Star Wars Legos are now a thing. But at the time, they were not when I was really young. So I would actually make my own. I made my own Darth Vader using Lego figures. I had a medieval helmet that kind of looked like Darth Vader's. I had a head that was all black. I had this one black outfit that had these wires and tubing on the chest. And I had a black cape, so I made my own Darth Vader action figure. Now, I remember creating a scene with my Legos of why Anakin Skywalker needed to have the breathing apparatus in his suit. So I can't remember the exact details of how I did this, but I had this one Lego set that was built that was like a moon base. And I was acting out with my Lego figures Anakin having been like grievously injured, and he's like, I can't breathe, and for some reason it was the Emperor. It was a younger, you know, Senator Palpatine. This is before the Phantom Menace, by the way. Palpatine saying, well, let's get you a breathing mask or something like that. So I actually acted that out with my Legos. I enacted that scene. Because the scene of the unmasking of Darth Vader in the Return of the Jedi is probably the scene that stuck with me the most as a kid. So I was trying to enact how I thought that happened. How did he have to go in the suit? I was very intrigued by that. So yeah, I've been watching Star Wars for so long that I do not remember the very first time that I watched it. But I know that growing up as a kid, I so wanted to be a part of the Star Wars universe. In a couple of weeks, I may have the opportunity to go to Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. And I definitely will report to you on that. The chance to actually be in the Star Wars universe. To roll into the Star Wars universe, I should say. And be there. That is a fascinating concept. So those are my thoughts and my memories of how I used to play Star Wars as a kid. Let me know what you did when you were young to try to enter that galaxy far, far away. My name is Brennan Marr. That noise you're hearing is my ventilator. And thank you for tuning in to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. May the Force be with you.